Okay. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Carvel Community Meeting. Today is 8 January 2025. If you're watching this meeting as a recording, we encourage you come join us live. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. It's an opportunity to listen in to what the maintainers are working on, provide live feedback, ask questions, or get live help with any of the tools. For those that are here today, if you have anything you wish to discuss with the community, please add that to the discussions topic section at the end of the agenda below. If you aren't able to attend live and would like to reach out to us with questions or feedback, you can also find us in the Kubernetes Slack workspace at Carvel channel. You can email us, find us on GitHub or on Twitter, X at Carvel_dev. When you attend these meetings, we ask that you please read and abide by a code of conduct, which is linked out here in the agenda. For those in attendance, please add your name and your organization you're present at the attendees list here. All right. Now on to any announcements.
Is that first X something? Or is just like an extra thing?
Oh, it's just an XX. If anybody wants to add anything.
Okay.
So I think we did not meet whole of December. We did have a KubeCon which happened in India, and I think Somik here attended that, and we also had our booth over there. Somik, I know it is last year. Do you recall some of it and give us a quick summary of how it went?
Sure thing. So, of course, the crowd was mainly split between people who are just sort of, dipping their feet into the stuff and people who have some experience under the belt. So I would mostly say that the new folks, they would immediately draw comparisons between Helm and Flux, of course. And the discussions were mainly around how kapp-controller is more Helm and Flux, and it's a bit more opinionated. However, when going over the whole project, folks who have a bit more experience under the belt, they generally be more interested in YTT because that piqued their interest more. That's about it. There are the folks who are interested and experienced are mostly people from services-based companies who provide services to financial institutions mostly. So they really related with the whole air gap scenario and how image package helps. So yeah, I wish I had prepared for this, but I'm afraid I did not. But that's what comes to mind, sort of stood out for me, I guess.
Thank you, Somik. Anything that is happening this week in terms of content? I think not. All right. Upcoming, we have kapp-controller version 55 to be released. Anybody wants to talk about this?
Yeah, I can. So this was requested by Ben as a feature, and this is where to bring parity with kapp-controller, the repo package repo release and package release. So to have a parity of flag for tag, so that users can have better control over the tag that they want to push. So 54 version 54.1 has already been released, and we're planning to release 55.0, the minor release, this week by tomorrow or by Friday. Should be there, yeah.
All right. We also have a bunch of releases which happened last month. We have kapp-controller 54.1, which was released. Secretgen-controller 19. Do we know what are the contents of these? Okay, let me try and...
Most of them are CV fixes.
All right, update the Golang version to 1.23/3. Looks like this is a CV bump. Just a quick question. If it was a CV bump, then why did we do a new minor release and not a patch?
So I guess this was the minor release was already 18, I think. I think just a patch release. Yeah, I think it was part of the Intel clustering. So we did a minor to minor mapping.
Okay, let's talk separately on that.
Sure.
Because this is again, looks like some confusion over there. When there are some CV releases, we generally just do the patch release. Okay, anything new in 51 YTT?
Let's hope not, because that's a patch release.
Yeah, so many a times, which was the last one?
That looks like a Golang bump.
Yeah.
We saw the bug fixes in the previous version, so I don't think we have them in this patch.
Cable is 45.0. Cap is...
I don't recall changes in cable, but cap definitely has changes.
All right. Again, I think it's the same. This should also be in a patch version. And vendor. This seems a little weird. Change log is 43.1.
I think this is not auto-generated, right? So it might be just a copy-paste
Yeah.
problem there. You can edit the release note.
Yeah.
And just change the 43.1 to 43. But you need to be logged in. Just give me a second. It's in there.
Yeah, I'm not signed in right now, and it will ask me for take some time before I sign in. I'm
One
in a
second.
different window. Yeah.
Okay, fix it.
Okay, cap does have a bunch of changes. Anybody wants to talk about these?
I can walk through them because it does have the go bump as well. Other than that, like we had discussed about what the flag behavior should look like when you're overriding ownership for specific apps earlier. So the first one is essentially that. And like the first two of them are that. So we sort of refactored how we want to structure the flags, which flags should be dangerous. So that's about the first two. So instead of saying that I want to snatch ownership from all apps, you can pick which apps you snatch ownership from. That's essentially it. So let's see. So the third one, adding timeout and wait rules. So for wait rules, till like before this, we had like a success and failure condition that we allowed. However, the condition that we added, the timeout condition, it essentially says that if I'm not progressing for X time, then I should error out. So timeout allows you to specify that time you should wait for a specific resource. And there's actually the fifth and third one are actually related, where if you can choose to sort of emit a log saying that, oh, we're waiting for this resource to timeout, and show the actual message in there. In case there's a message emitted by the, let's say, reconciling, for example, if you have a package install and reconciling has a message associated with it, you can show that message while saying that you're waiting for it to reconcile, and you will time out eventually. So that's about that. Let me remind myself what the fourth one is. Could you open the PR maybe, Reno? Providing start time and current time to facilitate. Oh, I see. So we didn't have a way of timing out from YTT based rules because we essentially I don't remember this accurately, but essentially the goal here was to allow us to have a timeout behavior in a YTT based rule as well, because it only allowed for successes and failures so far. So we sort of changed YTT based rules to accommodate for that. So yeah, I guess the two changes broadly are we can now have a resource specific timeout in rebase rules, not rebase rules, wait rules, and we can selectively override app ownership. Those are the main two changes in this release.
Given that we changed flags and stuff like that, did we tell people about it? Did we document it?
I'll have to check on that honestly. I think we did to the best of my memory, but I'll just make sure that we've done that. And another thing is we do need to version the documentation. So I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, like, and also especially like given that we made a bunch of minor releases, I don't know if we've been doing bumps on documentation or not. So
We don't.
we should take a look at that. The minors, the patches don't need any documentation change, unless there's like a documentation change that needs to go, right? But there's no need to bump documentation if it is a patch. But if given that we release some minors, we should make sure that the documentation version matches the current version of the tools.
I'll take a look at that.
Sorry, if we are updating cap to minor version, shouldn't we be releasing a kapp-controller minor version?
Has it picked up? Yeah, if it has picked up that cap, yes, we should have a 55.0, not 54.1.
Yeah.
What is the full log change there? because there's no merge, unless the update on Golang version also brought in cap changes.
Little.
Not sure. Can we check the change log? Let's see. Golang. KC new release.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it bumped Vendir. It bumped. What else?
For cap,
I
we have
think
to
that's
go
it.
YAML file, I think. Yeah.
It
I
was
don't
just the Vendir that was updated, but it was bumped nevertheless.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so we have bumped up the versions here.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah, cap as well. So we should probably. Yeah, we need to push 55.0 and maybe remove this release or recall it somehow.
we can keep it. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
It's gonna cause us less problems if we just keep it.
But do you think we should push a 55.0? We should, right?
Yeah, so tomorrow, Devanshu, let's discuss this.
At this point, I don't think it's like a major issue. We could if we want to, but like what I'm looking here is that oh wait. Did we change cap on the other Go mod? Is that it? No, right?
Yeah, the YAML file, yes.
In the YAML file? What do you mean the YAML file? So I'm trying to go, let me check. So on Go mod, the top Go mod for kapp-controller, the only change is Vendir.
Cap is not consumed as a Go package. Yeah.
It's not consumed as library, it's consumed as binary. Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, let's just release 55. I think it's better.
Sounds good. Yep.
Yeah, and
And actually, even K control has new flags, so we should push out a new one anyway.
yeah, that means whatever we're doing internally, Dr. Essentials also needs to hold. We have to hold that and then make a new release of kapp-controller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think we can update that dependency file, right? That dependency file is pointing to the old versions of the repos. So we should definitely not point to VMware Tanzu / Carvel blah. Right,
Yeah.
they should be pointed to the Carvel dev repos.
I think it still works because the redirection is there, but yeah, we should probably
Yeah,
change it.
the redirection will be there, but we don't know for how long. Hopefully forever. But if we could just change that, it would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, vendor is pointing to Carvel dev, however.
Yes, but
Cap.
the other ones are not, right? Like cap is not, YTT is not, K-build is not. Basically, cap Vendir is the only one that is.
All right. I had backlog, so
This is just more of a reminder to myself. I think Jaw is aware about a PR that's been up. Still have to add tests for it. I'm gonna try and get it done this week, right? Just letting Jaw know.
Sounds good.
okay. In the project roadmap, we had release package repository as star, which was for which a PR was created some time back.
I don't think the PR was and the proposal was merged, but the PR was never in the healthy state to merge.
So the problem with the PR is that we did change the code in image package, and the PR doesn't merge anymore. So it needs to be rebased on top, and quite a few things might have to be rewritten because of the change. So we're still waiting for that, and that should be on image package. Not sure if you're.
Right. Yep, completely forgot.
I don't think we ever get to the point where an implementation was done for kapp-controller. It's the first one.
Let me try and see if I can get in touch with Ashish, and he would be willing to take it up again.
He reached out to me like a couple months back, but then I didn't have like a lot of time for to help him out. But basically, like the main thing here is that some of the code that he's touching there does not exist in that place anymore. So it's going to be a little bit more of a complicated rebase than just simple thing here. So it might take a little bit of time.
Okay. Anything else on the roadmap that we have? Okay. We are in 2025 now. And this was last updated in April 2024. None of these have happened. What do we want to do about it?
I think we should do them, right? So a couple of things, like especially like the first two, I think we do have a big chunk of both of them implemented, but they are not merged yet, right? So definitely that's something that I think we should strive to complete. The last one there, I'm not sure 100% sure like if we even started doing anything about it. I remember that we had like some pointers and things like that, but I don't think we ever set down a plan to do things, did we?
Yeah.
It's not concrete enough as of now.
No. I think like the main problem for this particular topic, it's not the documentation itself. I think we need to have like a deeper conversation where we want Carvel to go, and based on that, things will start trickling in because of that, right? So I think that we need to decide what is where do we see Carvel? Like where do we want to position Carvel in the ecosystem? And because like if the idea is that we want to position Carvel as some sort of like package management tool that is used that is used by a lot of people in their Kubernetes clusters and so on, then in that case we need to start pushing people that way. And we need to start updating the way people look at Carvel into that direction, right? So, for example, if that's the idea, like if we want to make Carvel package management solution, ignoring everything that needs to be implemented and so on, like that should be the first thing that shows when you access carvel.dev, right? And not just a bunch of tools and so on. If that's not the thing that we want, and we just want to continue with the path that we are, like where we do a little bit of everything. There's like this tool that is interesting, that tool that's more interesting than the other, then maybe we should just point people to those tools directly and make them like more prominent, and add the other ones as like a side, tools that people can use that are pretty cool, and so on. And from there we can think about, like, for example, like as Samiko was saying, that folks are like very interested in YTT. Would it make sense for us to work in a different direction instead of like thinking about us like as a package management tool and so on? Is like, how can we integrate YTT in a more native way into Helm? How can we integrate YTT in a more native way into Flux, or something like that, and use those communities to prop up Carvel in that way? But so I think we kind of need to decide what is like, what do we want to be as Carvel? And from there, we can then start making decisions of what are the things that are most important for us. And then that hopefully will trickle in some information on what will be the next most important things for us to do. But my 2 cents here.
And yeah, we can talk about it, and then my worry is, how do we move forward from there? What would be, what can we take as concrete action items probably till the next community meeting, let's say for the next 2 weeks, to take a step in that direction? One, do we want to have a discussion internally, or as maintainers, do we want to have a discussion as to who should be having a say in all this?
This is a Carvel project, right? So who has a say on it? The maintainers do, right?
Right.
The question here is, I'm not like the 2 paths, or like the 3 paths that I was talking here about, they are not just like teaching tools or not implementing things or something like that, right? It's more like us as maintainers, where do we see us moving forward? Like, I know where I would like us to be. I know where I would like us to go to, but that's just me. That's just like my opinion and where I think Carvel positions itself in the environment and where we are, right? But I think us as maintainers, we should sit down and have a conversation about it and be very clear about what do we want to do and where do we want Carvel to go to. And when we have like this idea, we can propose this to the community and see what is the receptiveness to it and go from there. Like, it is complicated, but like I believe like the next action items for us is for us as maintainers to sit down and talk about this. And when I'm saying maintainers, it doesn't mean that it has to be, you can do this like in the next community meeting, for example, or something like that, where we sit down and we have this discussion. Like, I don't think there's like any benefit or hindrance to have this like in closed doors or open doors, because I don't think this is related to anything except where we see Carvel going. And when we are having that conversation, we can inject whatever bias we have, right? Like, for example, like if Broadcom is thinking about something and wants something, like whoever is working for Broadcom at the time can just try to put it on, right? And say like, oh, like we should try to go this way because that's where we would like us to go. Or if any other team, like I forget, like the folks from that have been contributing for Vendor, for example, like the folks from Germany, I forget their company. If there's something that they want to point out and talk about it. Like they can go that way, right? But I think us as maintainers, we need to decide where we'd like to see Carvel, or else Carvel is going to disappear, I think, right? I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. Like if the only thing that we're currently doing is just updating Go versions and so on, like it's not really worth it for us to continue like having meetings and continue getting in together, because that's something that we can roughly automate. I kind of automate that for like image package, for example, where it just bumps bumps Go version by itself, right? We don't need to be sitting here. But the question is, like, for example, yesterday there was like an issue open on YTT. Like a couple of weeks back, there's like a couple of issues open on YTT as well. It's like people are asking questions, but I don't think we're kind of answering them either. So in some sense, I think that that's why I'm saying that we need to decide where we want to go. And from there, we need to, in some way, like carve some time to like do the things that we think we need to do for this community.
Yeah, that's true. I think this would have got missed because of the holidays and did not get into a triaging meeting this week. So we'll definitely get to it. And I think from the maintainers also, I'm also seeing that less and less time is being spent on triaging of issues or even responding to issues on Slack, let's say. That is a cause of concern. What do you all suggest?
Let's write that down. Let's write that down and say that next community meeting, we're going to be talking about these things. If whoever is interested in participating can come to the meeting and we can talk about it. I think that in some sense, I think it is important for us to come to a conclusion on what we want to do, and then also deliver on whatever we decide we want to do, because like that's also important, right? So I think that our maintainer pool, I think it's shrinking, and that is some sort of like that's like something that it's bothersome, right? Because like we are losing people, and some of the folks continue helping out when they have time, and that's great, right? But in the end, we are losing people, and we are not able to get people ramped up to answer questions and to be there. So like in the end, we're like in a position right now where it kind of feels that we have some need to reassess where we are as a community, and is it worth it for us to continue investing in Carvel, like our personal time or our company time, depending on wherever you're working. And yeah, so concrete action items. I think we should have a discussion about where we are and where we want to go. And from there, decide what are the next most important things for us to do, and be realistic about it. Try to understand, try to get that down. So try to get like small things that we can accomplish with the folks that we have. So in terms of that, so I think like first create like a Slack message maybe that would explain what we're going to do in the next meeting, and us as maintainers come ready with suggestions, ideas, have like more or less an idea of where we are or not, and see where we land. We might land on we need more time, or we might land on just give us 2 more weeks for us to prepare, or maybe we can land on like this would be like the next most important thing that we believe that we can do. So we'll see. So what do y'all think about it?
Oh, yeah, I think I'm fine with sending this message out. There is what we are looking for is more investment from the community, and also a little more time from you all too, to try out certain issues, because I think a lot of notifications are coming. We are not looking at those. It's something that we also need to see what we can do about it, right? It's not that it is taking up a lot of our time. It should not be taking up too much of our time. However, some investment from our end is also needed. Yeah, it's something that, as Joe suggests, we should keep some time aside to discuss this, just this part, what we are, where we are right now, and where do we want to go. So, yep, I will try and send out this message. If more people want to contribute, is fine. Is there a format that we would want to follow, or is there something we want to capture beforehand for that meeting? Any data that we need, anything that I can help or facilitate with?
I don't think like it could be interesting to have just more anecdotal information. Like we do have like a survey, right? That we come out like every year. We have like an idea of like, are we getting more people replying? Like, is the sentiment going up or down? Maybe I'm not sure like how useful it is, but like maybe some metrics if we have about like how many issues were open in the last year, like to understand if there's any like to gauge interest, maybe like to understand like are people interacting and things like that. I think in terms of like data points, those are might be just like a very end wavy information that we can prompt the meeting with, right? And and talk about like those things, because like there are certain things that we know for sure, right? Like for example, the amount of people using K-build today, it's practically zero unless they're using kapp-controller, right? So like there are certain things that we kind of have an idea for, and do we have some ideas or like in our head like where we think that could be interesting to invest. But yeah, like another thing that I was thinking as well was that I don't know if we have this information. It is like try to understand like in terms of the community, like what would be like the tools that they would like us to invest on. But in reality, we kind of have that information, right, from a survey that we did like a year ago or something like that, or a year and a half ago or something like that, where they gave us information. What are the features that they would like to see in Carvel? And we kind of just we collected all that information and then we did that thing in right.
We can do anything about it. We
Just
can pick
drop
up
it.
anything. Yeah.
Right. So and that's on us, right? Because like we dropped it, and it, we might have done something that was pretty bad for the community, right? Like where we propped up people are like, yeah, they're going to do the things that I want, and then in reality we didn't, right? So yeah, I think that we could pick up maybe that. So okay, so for the next meeting, maybe have like that the results of that of the feature list that we asked to like display, so for us to like have an understanding of what is like the areas that people are more focused on, what would be like the thing that they want. In terms of data, maybe collect some information about I don't know how useful it is, like downloads or something like that. So I don't think that's much useful. Maybe like some information about issues, like how many issues were created per tool, so we can have an idea. And maybe prompt the meeting with some questions, right? So when you come to the meeting, we would like you to think before you come here to the meeting for us to discuss is, where do you see Carvel? Like where is Carvel helping you right now in your day-to-day work, and where would it be more helpful, like if something else was added? Where are like the areas? I'm not saying like this particular feature in this tool. It's just more like more generic, more high level for us to understand where we want to go to. And even if folks are not coming to the meeting, if they in some way could provide us with that information, that would be useful for us, as at least to have like a starting point.
Sure. Try and capture that in a document. If you want to add any more questions that we can ask the community, feel free to add to that, and I will consolidate it and send it out to you all to check once before I send out the message. Because this is going to be important. We don't want to do anything which is I believe this is a good step in this this year. Like this definitely will help us be more focused in our efforts in whatever we do for this particular project, right? So this would be a good step. Let's try and get that out. All right. Thanks, Joe. Anything else anybody else wants to add before we call it a meeting? All right then. Thank you very much and see you next time. Bye-bye.